I used to be an average guy in high school and college. To be honest, I was a bit of a loser. And then I built an aesthetic body. I got millions of followers, made millions of dollars profit, retired my family, and most importantly, I'm genuinely happy and fulfilled now. So I spent 2 hours thinking of the advice that I would give myself when I was about 16 to 20 years old, and I've put it all inside of this video for you. We're going to cover the 3 biggest bits of advice that I would give to my younger self who needs it so badly. And if you don't know me already, my name is Hamza Ahmed. I've helped millions of guys like you to change their lives, to get onto self-improvement. And it'll be about 3 to 6 months from now when you'll say the same phrase that everyone else says, which is, Hamza changed my life. Lesson number 1, stop getting distracted by girls. So throughout high school and my time in college, I used to just get these obsessive crushes over like whatever girl that I was crazy about at the time. I'd be sat in class thinking about her. I'd be back at home thinking about her, checking her Facebook wall, going to sleep, cuddling my pillow, thinking about her. Do you think that got me the girl? No. Do you think that got me good grades and, made me so productive and successful as well? No. Being needy and obsessed over a girl gets you nowhere, and that was my experience during my time in the education system. It was only when I got onto monk mode, which is a period of time where you just think to yourself, like, you know what? I'm just not going to get distracted by girls. I just don't want to think about them right now. I don't want to date. I don't want to be speaking to girls. I'm just going to focus on me, maybe my fitness and my finances. I did that after I graduated from university. I was broke. I had a degree, but it wasn't really a good one. It was psychology. And I went from that point to my first $15,000 month, and also the best shape of my life, like my physique, and the best discipline of my life, the best mental health of my life, in the space of a year. 1 year of monk mode. From that point, so this was now 2021, I scaled everything up. I got still even a better and better physique after that point, and the business and everything else. So everything that I've got right here, right now, really stemmed from that one period of monk mode that I did in 2020 when I just had an extended period of time where I just basically said no to girls. So what exactly is monk mode and why do I recommend going on it? So monk mode is a time where you're going to say to yourself, okay, for the next 3 months, or maybe up until my exams finish, or up until I make $5,000 a month, I'm just not going to think about girls at all. I'm just getting too distracted by them. This is a brutal truth you need to understand because it's a bit of a weird mindset. It's easy to say it's not that much of a distraction, going on a date with a girl takes 3 hours and, texting a girl maybe takes 30 seconds, but it's really not like that. I'm telling you right now that when you completely cut yourself off from dating, you just get so much extra sort of focus and productivity to your goals. And the moment that you text even just one girl, even though the actual text you send her takes 10 seconds, the moment you text just one girl, it's like you've lost exponential focus. You are literally maybe 40% as focused as you were compared to that season where you were just no, I'm not speaking to any girls, I'm not going to date, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not even going to have sex, I'm just going to focus on my finances. And here I need to teach you some things which are controversial as fuck. Most people are too scared to talk about this, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. This is a brutal reality that you're going to have to face. You are a man on self-improvement. That means that every 3 to 6 months, you will unlock a new tier of woman. Right now, the woman that you can attract, if there is any girls at all that you can actually attract, I know that you try and pretend loads of girls like me. But if they did, you'd actually be having sex and dating. So don't fucking jack your dick off so hard right now. Stop glazing yourself. Most girls don't like you. Don't you fucking lie to yourself. If there is any girls that you could attract right now, the dynamic is always like this, where you generally will be attracting girls who are kind of a little bit less kind of valuable than you. Men date downwards, women date upwards. It's the fucking truth. The problem is that you're a piece of shit right now. You're literally low tier right now. You're probably thinking, wait, this guy's an asshole, he's being mean. Let me just actually reframe this to a positive way. You're on self-improvement, your life keeps getting better, right? Since you started watching me, you've been going to the gym, you've been packing more muscle, right? Am I correct? So, does that not mean that literally every single month you will be better than the month behind? Think about it. Every year your life's going to keep going up, right? You never expect to just like hit a certain year, let's say 20 years old, and be like, yep, that's it. That's me. Now I'm just going to get addicted to drugs and not do anything else for my life now. Every year of your life, you're going to become a better, more attractive man, right? Maybe up until like 40 years old, and then you get old, whatever. But at least for the next like 10 years, every year you're going to be more attractive than the next, right? You agree? So does that not mean that right here, right now, you are literally the worst version of you that you'll ever be? The stupidest version, the most broke version, the most least attractive version that you'll ever be. And you also agree that it's these kinds of traits, the level of man that you are in attraction and confidence and charisma and all those things that basically correlate with your ability to attract a quality girl. So if this is the girl that we can attract right now, what will the girl look like that we can attract a year from now, and 3 years from now, and 80 years from now? Because I'm telling you the truth, just as every other guy will tell you who's been on this path of self-improvement, every 3 to 6 months, you will unlock a new tier of woman who's into you, basically like the next level of girl who's into you. If there's any girls who are into you right now, even though you don't want to admit it, they're fucking losers, because you are. The only difference is like you're a loser who's trying not to be a loser. You're going to the gym, you're doing these things. You're fairly new to this stuff probably, but you're doing something. The girl that you can attract right now is the type of girl who doesn't even exercise, which is just fucking weird when you really think like a human being who doesn't exercise. She eats shit food, scrolls, whatever. Okay, she's a bit of a fucking loser, but she's, the only girl who's into you, so you say that she's actually like an 11 out of 10 or some cringe shit. But it's actually like this. She's like a 3. You're like a 4. When you're an objective, like, it sounds autistic, but you're like a 7 in, just the rating scale sounds stupid, but it kind of just is a good way to explain things. When you're a 7, you'll be able to attract a 6. When you're an 8, you'll be able to attract a 7. So why date right now? This is the worst you're going to be in your life. Therefore, this is the worst girls you're going to attract in your life as well. You understand this, and I think you actually agree, okay? Every year, you're going to get better and better. There's also more controversial things we need to talk about, which is what happens to men and women separately. For men, we can keep getting more and more attractive and desirable as we grow older. In fact, actually, we're probably more attractive as we grow older than we are. Like, honestly, a 20-year-old guy is just awkward and cringe, and he's kind of like skitsy. He doesn't breathe properly. He's, he can be attractive and stuff, sweet, but he's just a bit of a fucking, like 20-year-old guys are just kind of losers, even if they're not. It's just because they're young. When you get to 25, things are different. When you get to 27, things are different. I know this completely. Like, I'm telling you right now, our maturity, our confidence completely correlates with our age. There's, like, for example, me and my cameraman and a few friends of mine, I rented like this massive villa, and it was this social event and everything. And I noticed just how much my younger friends who are 19, 20 years old, how they interact with women and with other people compared to the guys who are 27 and who are 30, who are like way more kind of like professional and like real men who are still, it's no disrespect to anyone, but it's just like as we get older, we just become so much more still and attractive and charismatic and like that mature masculine energy. So this is to say that if you're 16 years old or if you're 18 or 20 years old right now, I guarantee you will be so much more attractive to girls when you are 27 years old, when you are 35 years old. The same is actually not true for women. This is the brutal fact that people are too scared of. Let's say a 22-year-old girl right now, she will not be more attractive to men when she is 35 years old. That is just the simple fucking truth that people find it a little bit scary to say. But if you ask the men of the world, okay, there's a 22-year-old, 35-year-old, that 35-year-old's got more experience in the world, she's more mature, which one do you want? No man would say the 35-year-old. They might try and lie and, sugarcoat it, whatever, but every guy's going to say, no, the 22-year-old. She's just more attractive. She's more youthful. Those are the things that men actually value. Men don't value, like, life experience in a girl that much. We actually kind of like it when a girl doesn't have much life experience so that she can experience it with us. The reason why I'm telling you this is because we run on 2 separate timelines. This is something I've learned from my friend Chris. Basically, there's 2 different timelines, and this is the phrase that we get to have, which is, it's the male advantage. Once we get to 18, we are at the worst, most unattractive period we could be at. 18-year-old guys are just fucking loser little gimps, little soy boys riding around on their fucking skateboards, basically. They're just immature. 18-year-old girl, sky high levels of like sexual market value. Men will fantasize about her. She's beautiful, youthful, whatever. When men get to 25-year-old, they're still kind of like losers figuring out themselves, whereas women have had that inflated sense of, the celebrity status for the last few years. They go everywhere. Can you imagine? You walk into a gym and almost everyone in there is looking at you. Can you imagine that? Being a pretty girl, it develops you in a certain way, right? When we get to 25, we're just starting our lives, basically. 25, 27, 28, 30 years old. Most men are just about hitting their stride of feeling confident, whatever. Whereas women hit their stride at like 18. There's a phrase which is like men's lives start at 30, women's lives start at 18. And honestly, it's very, very true. The point of this video is what advice would I give to my younger self? I tell him this and I tell him, listen, right now, there's this weird skew where if you're 18 years old, the girls who are 18 years old, they're dating guys who are 25 years old. You're trying to compete with guys who are 7 years older than you. They've got their own place. They've got their cars. They're so much more still. They have like 100 times more experience with girls than you do. Is there much of a point for you to be trying to date and find a girl right now when, one, the brutal truth is like this is probably the worst girl you're going to meet in your life, because every year you should become more attractive and you'll attract more and more higher quality women as well. So you need to just have this belief in your mind. Every 6 months, you're going to attract a new tier, more attractive woman, not just beauty, but like character and everything. I thought that this would last for like a few years, 18 to 23 years old or something, 5 years, and it kind of tapers off. But I'm telling you, like, it still hasn't really tapered off for me. And I became successful very quickly. Think about it. I've got millions of followers. I've got hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. I've got the physique. I've got the confidence, the game, and everything. And I still, like, bro, every 6 months, it's maybe slow down a little bit, every 6 to 12 months for me, I'll end up dating a girl who I'm like, oh shit, like this is a fucking magnificent. My younger self could not imagine the quality of this woman, of like her character, her beauty and everything. So this goes on for a while. So the big lesson here is like, do you really want to be getting into a relationship and dating right now when it will be better later? Why get distracted now when you could use all that energy to focus and grow so that you can hit those points, the sort of higher level later? Then one phrase is, a lot of people say like, oh, but what if you meet a girl and you can grow together? I actually think grow together is like a lie. And it sounds controversial, but let me explain why. First of all, you need to understand, and we need to agree on this, you need to handshake me with this. We shouldn't save a girl. You agree? That phrase, like, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. You should, this idea of grow together is usually used by losers who find a girl who's basically broken and she's riddled with red flags, maybe even STDs. She's smoking, vaping, she's flirting with guys, smoking weed and all this stuff. And, she's just doing all this like haram shit. And it's like, oh, but we can grow together. No, motherfucker, like you don't fucking grow with like a low quality person. No. The grow together, the real thing is you meet someone who's already high quality, who's already like a good person, an individual who's happy and who's already got goals and ambition. And then, yeah, sure, with two ambitious people growing at the same time together, sure, awesome. But you don't meet someone who's basically, you've got such low standards that it's the one girl who's like a fucking normie right now. She can't even do a single pull-up. Like if she was a guy, she'd be a fucking loser. Most guys who have this concept of like, oh, but if I could grow with a girl right now, they're talking about a girl who literally is a complete and utter loser, but it's the only girl who's given them any little bit of attention. And she's not high quality, but it's the cope of like, oh, but we could grow together. If she meditated for 10 years, that'd be good. I used to say this about girls, like no offense to them, but like I used to say this about girls that I used to date years ago, like, oh, but if imagine if she meditated for 10 years. Motherfucker, imagine you meet a girl who's already meditated for 10 years before you met her. Look, it's gonna sound horrible, but you know what the phrase is? Don't try and polish a turd. That's what the phrase is. You don't polish a turd. You don't try and like shine like a fucking piece of shit. I don't mean to be horrible, but it's the truth. It's like most guys will meet a girl who's not even high quality and then just think like, oh, but if I get her into the gym and meditation and this and this and this, that's not the way. You want to meet a girl who's already quality, who's already on this path because you are as well. One brutal reality I'm going to tell you with this as well is that, by the way, if you try and save a girl, whenever you have a bit of an argument or a conflict, she will snap back to how she was before she met you. So let's say if you meet a girl who's like parties a lot and she flirts with guys and whatever, when you guys have an argument, that's the first place she's going to go back to with her hoe friends. She's going to go back and start partying and like basically turning guys on and giving them like a free testosterone boost in the club. If you meet a girl and she smokes weed, and maybe she's admitted it to you or not, but she smokes with like guys and she gets like frisky with them, when you and her have a bit of conflict, an argument or something, she's going to be doing that shit. She might have stopped smoking weed with you and now she meditates and she's on self-improvement because you got her onto it, but the moment you have like a problem, she's going to be smoking again. I guarantee it. If you don't believe me, you will be fucking burned. You need to just have some standards when it comes to your choice in a woman, and when you have standards and you set them really highly, you'll be thinking like, yeah, if I'm honest, I can't attract the woman that I want because I'm not good enough, because I'm growing right now. I'm only 18 years old. I'm only 21 years old. I've got so much growth to get to before I can attract like my ideal woman who has the character that I want, the beauty that I want. You need to just have some standards and think to yourself, okay, what is like the ideal woman that I want, the quality? And then the truth that you're going to have to admit is you're not going to be able to attract her right now because you're not good enough for her right now. You've got your own growth to go to. So this comes to the idea, like, why get distracted with dating right now when you can more dedicate these seasons of your life to growing instead of just, mindlessly texting this girl and getting attached to this girl and this girl and this girl, when you could just be focused on your own growth instead. You need to understand a lesson that I learned way too late, which is, okay, which season of life are you in right now? There's two seasons. There's the kingdom building season and there's the kingdom managing season. The way to figure out which season you're in is to ask yourself, when do you want to have children? The correct time to have children, in my opinion, this is my values, is when you already have the kingdom. By that, I specifically mean, for example, you have a house that you own. Your finances are really awesome. Not just that you're making good money, but maybe you have like $1 million or $5 million like in assets. You own this house and you've got stability. You want to live in this one place. That's a good time to have children. Maybe you'll be like 29 years old or 30 years old. So then the question is, well, when should you have a wife? When should you date really seriously? Well, when you want to have children. So we might have just moved like your serious relationship to the point that you're like 30 years old, maybe even 35 years old. Because that's when you'd want to have children. That's when you'd actually want to get married. Because does it make sense to have children when you're in the kingdom building season, which is more like, for example, you're a young man. You've got a bit of boy psychology where you're like traveling around the world. You're trying to figure out which country you want to move to. You're trying to figure out, which like career you're in and stuff. That's not the right time to have a child. That's not the right time to have a wife either. So if we're going to move having a family, wife and children to the kingdom managing season of our lives, which we might say is 30, maybe 35 years old. If we're in the kingdom building season, that is a season that requires utter focus. It's like the phrase for me is always like the roaming bandit. It's like a roaming gang, like you and your brothers, your friends, your masculine guys who are like maybe traveling with each other, building businesses, trying different careers, figuring out what you like. Why pressure yourself to get into that serious relationship so early when you're still figuring out who you are and where you want to live and what your values are? Those values should be determined by yourself and with males, like with male friends, not with a woman by your side, because it's like with women, it's so easy for them to implant their own values into you and for you to just be there like another gimp in his, like, another like soft guy who's like, yep, she does everything in the house and, she bought that couch. I don't really like it, but I guess I like it. Like, she does, just like a wimpy fucking guy compared to, imagine like the sort of stoic Muslim man who's already like determined where his house is going to be, or he's bought his house. And it's like, he's the one who furnishes his apartment because he knows what he likes already. Do you see the difference here is like, I'm telling you, don't get distracted by girls right now when you're, first of all, not even attractive to the kind of girl that you want to be with, but also, two, you're figuring your life out. And so why get into a serious relationship, which can actually confuse and dilute this journey of you finding out what your values are? When you're in this season, as you are right now, as all of us are who are watching this, you should be spending more time thinking about your male friends than you should about getting a girlfriend. So all of this lesson was, okay, don't get distracted by girls. But then I want to give you a caveat, because I don't want you to turn into a social retard as well. That's the problem, right? If I'm telling you, yeah, don't date right now, the problem is a lot of guys won't build up any kind of experience, and then they'll be like awkward as fuck with girls, even when they're trying to date later on or something. So how do we balance both of them? You do not ever want to turn into like a social retard who can't connect with another human being, even in these seasons of like monk mode, pure focus. So what you're going to do instead is still talk to everyone. When you're in grind mode and you're locked in on the business or fitness or your grind, I want you to be as social as possible, even through the monk mode, where, for example, when you go to the gym, you're fist bumping like the 3 guys you know, you wave over at the girl who looks at you, you compliment this person here and here. So you're like this social butterfly who can speak to a stranger. You can still flirt with girls, you can still like game and everything, you can still go cold approach and get used to speaking to people, girls and everything in person, so that you don't turn into this weird creepy guy who can't speak to another human being. It's just that you don't really take dating so seriously when you're young because of the things that we've mentioned today. It's like, it's just not the right time when, for example, the girl that you really want is just not attracted to you right now, and also that we as men, we just get this inherent genetic benefit that we can be way more attractive. We are more attractive when we're 30 years old than when we're 18 years old, if you've done the right things. Like, that's the disclaimer. Most 30-year-olds are less attractive than 18-year-olds, but only because they've had 12 years of drinking like fucking retards and staying up late and everything. If you've had 12 years of going to the gym and meditating and doing the things that I say, you will become a fucking Chad. You will build like such a sexy physique. You'll have like such amazing levels of testosterone and health and social life, and you'll buy your own place. You'll become like such an attractive guy. That's the difference. Guys like us who are on self-improvement, we get better every 6 months, every 12 months. We are like a new tier of man, and therefore we attract a new tier of woman. Most people are too scared to talk about this kind of knowledge, but I want you to have all the information you need to become a successful man. I made a paid program called Library of Adonis, which is linked underneath this video in the description. It's an insane deal. I think it's one of the best deals on the internet for buying like courses and programs and stuff. So you can just go check that out if you're interested. The price will be increasing soon as well, so you might want to go and join right now. The second lesson that I'd give to my younger self, who was a bit of a loser, is that money is so important. Through my years in school, I never really thought of money, because when you're in school, your focus is like more on like just looking cool, looking good, looks maxing, and maybe a bit of fitness and confidence and social skills and trying to get that girl, whatever. And you kind of overlook the importance of money because it doesn't really make a difference when you're in class. It's more about how you look and those kinds of things. But money is actually really, really important, and I wish I could go back and tell my younger self that, because it was a lesson that I learned too late once I eventually graduated from university, and then I struggled getting like random full-time jobs before I built a business. Once you finish school and you start the real world, you realize that money is actually so important that people dedicate their lives to it. And if you can get good at this skill, then you can acquire a lot of money and have an extra form of like power, an extra form of status, and an extra thing that makes you more attractive. And the cool kids that you know from high school, those popular ones, a lot of them end up falling off like crazy. A lot of people peak in high school, and it's specifically because they end up getting like some fucking dead-end job and they can't make much money, that they end up just completely and utterly, like their status, their confidence, their sort of enjoyment of their life completely tanks. But it's the people after college ends who end up getting good at the skill of making money that their life skyrockets. Money becomes like the equalizer between the guys who were like popular in high school and the guys who weren't, and the guys who are understanding, okay, how do you level up your finances? I have a whole separate channel for money and business, by the way. You can search, it's called like Hamza Advanced. So how do you actually like realize money is important? For me, the biggest benefit has been surrounding myself with people who have the desire for money and who take it seriously. So back in 2023, I had just under 2 million subscribers on my main channel. Basically, I hit 2 million and I kind of like retired and I stopped posting consistently and everything. And I just kind of like left the scene a little bit up until I had a friend of mine who was an entrepreneur who sent me like this message where he said that I could have been making a lot more money if I sold a certain type of product. And he just had this enthusiasm. He had such like a positive enthusiasm with the idea that I could have made more money if I, followed this advice and I sold a product like he was mentioning. And just seeing his enthusiasm turned it on for me. And I was like, oh yeah, like making money is like a fun thing. Like it's like a game. It's like something to smile about. Like if you make money, if you like get a sale, you should smile and celebrate and hype up. And I followed this guy's advice. His name was Andrew Kirby. And yeah, I made $75,000 in one day launching this product that he recommended. And then I made over $100,000 a month, every month for like 2 years after that, which was pretty fucking insane. So thank you to him, first of all. But it was having someone in my network who saw the positivity of money and the importance of it, and he just kind of made it contagious and put it on to me. And a similar thing happened actually recently where I met this wonderful woman here who is an entrepreneur like me. She's actually in the same business model. And she had a similar attitude where, she thought making money was like such an important thing. And I don't, if I'm honest. Like it's kind of like an uphill battle for me to like care and give a shit about money. I'm a bit more of like a sort of non-materialistic, wholesome kind of guy, which is probably not a good thing, honestly. But I was speaking to her and I thanked her for her energy, and she has this desire for success and money. And she said to me once, a lesson which I'll remember for a while. She said, like, yeah, of course, like money is so important. People literally trade their time and their life for money. Money is life energy. Like that's just something I want you to let that sink in for a second. Like money is life energy. Like people trade their lives, like their time, 9 to 5 for money. With money, you can get someone to just do what you want. Like that's powerful. That's it, outside of like high school and college, where in those seasons of your life, it's more about how cute you look or whatever, how confident you are. Once you enter the real world, money is that big thing. Like in high school and college, it's about looking good and being popular. In the real world, it's about money. And you can be the little weirdo in the corner who like looks at both of these things and says, actually that's all weird and it's all bad for you, whatever. But actually the truth is, bro, like you're playing this game anyway. You remember like, the sort of weirdos who didn't want to play the sort of popularity game in high school. They still have bad lives, even though they kind of throw rocks at the game of like status and popularity and friendship, and the people who throw rocks at the game of like money. They actually still have bad lives. This idea of like, the people who say like, oh yeah, money's evil and money's bad and whatever. And it's a bit of a receptive message where you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, fair enough. Good points there. The problem is those people who are kind of the sort of hermits of society, who don't want to play the game of society, which is like looks and money, they have pretty shitty lives. Don't fall for it, honestly. There's like a lesson I want to give you, which is like, be aware of like money shamers. Like there's people who act like making money is a bad thing, even though it's like, bro, it's such an important thing. Your parents are trading their time for money, their lives for money. Imagine if you randomly made like $1 million and your parents never had to work again. Imagine that fucking like that gift you could give to your people that you care about. But other people will try and convince you to like not make money or to not desire it because it's evil or it's wrong or it's immoral or all this shit. It's like, bro, the people who are saying that, they're fucking miserable. And guess what? They're still playing the game anyway. That's the thing. It's a game that we're all playing. We all use money. We all judge people by their looks. We all judge people by their level of fitness and everything. You may as well at least get pretty fucking good at the games that you're forced to play. You can complain about it all you want, but you're going to be using money anyway. You may as well get good at the game of acquiring it. The third lesson that I'd give to my younger self who was a loser is to wage war against comfort. All of my time in university, I was just living this comfortable life where I'd wake up late and I'd go to the gym, which was like the one productive thing I was doing. But after that, I just kind of like sit around, watch like YouTube videos on my computer and sit on my bed, and I'd hang out with girls and I'd message my friends, and then I'd go get food with them, and then we'd all get ready and start drinking and go out to nightclubs and take drugs, and I'd eat like loads of junk food and chocolate and whatever. My entire day was mostly just like comfortable, instant gratification activities. And when I look back now, like, it saddens me because I had so much potential to make a business like this or to become really, really fit and to get into boxing or something. And I never did any of that in university because I was so receptive to just comfort. And I really wish I could go back in time and convince my younger self, like, don't live like a fucking bum. So you need to understand, how do you actually get away from comfort? Because a lot of people will tell you this, like, yeah, like, comfort's bad habits, don't do them. But how do you, like, operationalize that? How do you practically stop being a fucking loser who's just a bum, who's eating shit food and staying up late and consuming a lot and whatever? First of all, you have to understand two very important terms. Instant gratification, delayed gratification. Once you understand this, it's going to make so much more sense in your mind. Instant gratification is like a feeling of comfort and pleasure that we get from the activities that feel good right now, but they're actually pretty bad for us tomorrow. So that's like eating junk food. It feels good, it's pleasurable on your tongue right now, but then straight afterwards, you feel kind of shitty, your stomach hurts, and then you've gained fat and now you're ugly. Staying up late. It feels kind of good to stay up late and, it's kind of hype and, maybe you're scrolling or you're gaming or whatever it is, you're doing something late in the day. It's 10 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever. Feels good, but then it costs you tomorrow. Drugs are the biggest form of instant gratification. Feels good, you get a high right now and then you get a come down and then even withdrawal symptoms tomorrow. Instant gratification are the things that we want to get rid of. It's the things that feel good right now but bad tomorrow. Delayed gratification is kind of like the opposite of that. It's the things that usually feel kind of bad right now, but they're good for us tomorrow. Can you think of a few delayed gratification things? Going to the gym. For most people, going to the gym doesn't feel good. It feels kind of bad. For you right now, if you've been going to the gym for a few years, then it feels good because, you've got like the size already, you've got the muscle, the strength. That's right, bro. Fucking W in the chat. Look at that fucking leanness, bro. Right? Once you've got a bit of size, then of course it feels good because it's kind of like your realm. It's my happy place, whatever. But when you first go into the gym, it can feel pretty uncomfortable and painful, right? You remember one of the first workouts you did, it was probably kind of awkward or, it burns. The next day you're super sore, whatever. Eating clean is like the same thing. It doesn't taste as nice, as pleasurable as eating junk food. But it's better for you tomorrow because you wake up and you feel better. You've got high protein, you've made more muscle, you don't feel like shit, and you're losing body fat, you become more attractive. Meditation's like, it's kind of intense, it's kind of tough, it's uncomfortable to just be sat there meditating, focusing on your breath, getting random thoughts or whatever. It's uncomfortable, it feels kind of bad right now, it doesn't feel easy, it doesn't feel kind of good, but it makes you better in the long run. The reason why we want to get rid of the instant gratification in our lives and we want to just do way more of the delayed gratification activities is because it has a special advantage. The special advantage of these activities, like the good habits, is after a little while, you feel happier 24/7. Like when you first go to the gym, it's tough, it's hard, whatever. But once you've already got a good physique, it's like you're just permanently just happier. Like your happiness, it just increases 24/7. When you've stacked up enough of the delayed gratification, those activities that make you better later, you've stacked up enough of those sort of like bonus points for later and later and later. You've done enough of those that you just have like a new baseline of just fucking happiness. So I have not went to the gym today, but I still feel happy about the concept of the gym because I've got the muscle. Do you see, like, that's a weird thing, right? Because the instant gratification doesn't have that. Like when we eat the ice cream, it's gone in 5 seconds and the happiness of it stops with those 5 seconds. That's pretty vicious, isn't it? Like the happiness stops after 5 seconds, but the fat is basically there up until you fucking lose it. So that could be for some people forever. They never lose that little bit of fat for the rest of their lives. The consequences of instant gratification stay forever. The rewards of delayed gratification stay forever. Do you see how uneven they are? How unevenly bad the instant gratification is and how unevenly good the delayed gratification, the good habits are for you. So the basic advice for you is eliminate or at least significantly cut out all of these bad habits that feel good today, but they're actually pretty bad for you, and significantly increase the delayed gratification activities that are good for you, but they kind of feel bad and uncomfortable right now. You knew this already. It's like, okay, well, do more of the good habits. But there's a few big lessons I want to break down here. One of them is about balance, and people ask me like, oh, but like, what about 1 hour of instant gratification, at the end of a hard day? Like, that's fine, 1 hour to unwind. And to that, because I'm not a pussy, I always say, fuck no. 1 hour to unwind. Oh, can't I just have 1 hour to hurt my growth, bro? Can't I just have 1 hour to reset some of my goals, bro? Are you retarded? Now, pussies on the internet, all these little comfortable, little skinny neck, low testosterone little pussies will tell you that I'm too strict with this. 1 hour of instant gratification pleasure to unwind at the end of the hard day is a fucking scam. It's a lie. People say, 1 hour, video games to relax. Imagine if we scanned your brain while we played video games. Would we see a brain at rest? Don't be a fucking retard and answer the question. Because if you have asked this yourself, like, 1 hour is fine, right? Answer the fucking question. If we had a scan of a brain playing a video game, would his brain look to be at rest? No. Because these unwinding activities are actually hyper-stimulating. You don't relax by playing video games. You don't unwind by watching a fucking action movie. That's stimulating. That's not rest. People like try and cope and pretend like, but it's good for you. But it's not, though. Now, again, I'll always give you a disclaimer, which is like, look, if it's going to be this cool social event where you and your boys are getting around together for a hype day and it's a bit of a rare thing, I understand, like, you're going to have a movie night with your girl or with your family. You're going to go to the cinema. Look, I understand. That's actually cool as fuck. I would actually support you if you told me, like, me and my family are going to go to the cinema tomorrow. That's fine. It's like, because it's a bonding moment between people. But shut the fuck up, bro. If you're like, you're just fucking gaming up until 1 a.m., some bullshit with your little retard, loser Discord friends. Like how we used to do back in the day. That's what's wrong. It's like the same thing. Like, let's say you get a girlfriend and let's say she makes a cake for you for your birthday. Don't be a fucking asshole. But I'm on a diet. Don't be a fucking asshole. Taste the fucking cake and enjoy some of it, bro. That's fucking wholesome, bro. I'll go on a road trip every now and then. And I'll stop off at like these wholesome cafes where it's like, the family have worked there for fucking 50 years and grandma's in the back and she makes the cake and shit. Bro, I'm eating that fucking cake, right? I look serious to you, but it's like, I still enjoy my life. Like, that's real enjoyment. Where it's like, I'm on a fucking trip and it's like, I'll always remember the cake that I got in Scotland from this lovely woman. Like, I'll always remember this one cafe that I've went to in Scotland from this lovely woman who makes the cakes, and they're the fucking nicest cakes I've had in my life. That's fucking wholesome. But imagine it's a normal day, I go to the store and get like a 4-pack of fucking basic muffins and I just eat them whilst mindlessly watching some TV show. That is wrong. Do you see the difference here? Girlfriend bakes you a cake, have some. Cake from the fucking supermarket that isn't even that nice, but you're just mindlessly fucking eating it, that's wrong. You go to a nice Italian restaurant with your family and you have some pizza, sweet, because it's with your family. You order a pizza whilst you watch some fucking TV show, wrong. That is wrong. You need to understand there is right and wrong, and that is fucking wrong. And all the pussies on Instagram will be, but he's promoting an eating disorder. Fuck you, fatty. Fuck you. We need to bring some fat phobia or whatever the fuck it's called back and start shaming people and be like, no, fucking fatty. No, that's wrong. That is really wrong. Again, bro, if it's pizza night and you're watching the Super Bowl with your 7 friends, yeah, that's fucking cool. That's funny. Like, that's okay. I'm not saying that those things are bad. That's okay. Because you see, it's a social event. And it's actually like a significant thing because it's like you gathering around with your tribe, and it's like, that's like special. Just eating it covered up in your bed sheets, eating fucking chocolate bars or something, just empty fucking calories. That's where we're going wrong with the instant gratification. So my mindset isn't that we're never going to have sugar or those kinds of things again in our lives. It's just that we're going to do them in an appropriate way. Like, for example, alcohol. We should never get to the point where we are just drinking by ourselves. Like, that's just utterly fucking disgusting. Some people will wake up, they'll just be weird and shit, and then they'll just get like a fucking beer from their fridge and just drink it when they're in their room by themselves. That's fucking haram and disgraceful. That's fucking so cringe. Some people will go out to dinner and just get like a beer with their, like, that's just fucking so weird. But You're going to go on a date with a girl and you have some wine with her. I can understand that. You're going to go to a party and you're going to drink there. I understand it. It's a bit degenerate, but I understand because there's a bit of like a social event added to it. So that's always been my rule when it comes to these bad habits, is like, I'm not saying that you've got to cut them off completely. If you want to, by the way, if you don't want to drink at all, I respect that. That's still awesome. But I'm just saying that if you are going to do some of those things, make them a bit more social and sort of hype, right? So for example, with like video games, I don't really play video games or watch TV or movies or those kinds of things. But when my friends are traveling over from a different country, it's funny for us boys to be like, oh, let's go do like a Minecraft LAN party and play Minecraft set next to each other, like with my friends. That's funny as fuck. That's like, it's humorous. We were going to hang out anyway. And it's like, it's just a funny thing to do. But the thing is, it's like a couple hours, like 5 hours, and then it's done. And that's it. And then I'm still not a fucking virgin video gamer. Do you see that the sort of difference there? I'm not on here playing by myself, leveling up my fucking RuneScape character by myself every single day of my life. It's more like a hype thing of like, oh, I'll be with a friend and we'll watch a movie together. Or I'll be with like a girl and we'll watch a TV show together. It's like a bonding moment between people instead of this weird modern day depressing kind of like, you know, like you've just got your bed sheets above your head like a little burrito and you're just there watching the shit by yourself when you could be working instead. When you have a family and a successful business where you've employed some people and stuff, you know, in the future, that's when you can take a step back and you don't have to grind as much, and you know, you're going to spend more time playing with your family and whatever. I understand that. But you're in grind mode right now. You're a young man full of fucking testosterone and ambition. Now is not the time to be like being a bitch and talking about unwinding and those kinds of things. Now is the time to be obsessed. And you have to watch out for the guys who tell you to not be obsessed. Just trust me when I say this. Always keep this analogy in your mind. Imagine us all in a race. All the men of the world are in a race. At the top of this race, like at, you know, where the ribbon is, at the finishing line, is all the things that we want. There's money, the cars, the women, the status, the security, the freedom, the happiness, the fulfillment. Everything that a man desires is at the finish line of this race. We're all running, and how fast you run will determine your position in this race and how much of those rewards you get to enjoy in life. The quality woman who's super healthy to give you healthy children, who's respectful and beautiful and looks after herself. If you're slow in this race, you get nothing. Watch out for the guys who try and convince you to slow down in this race. Now that sounds crazy. Who would tell you to slow down in this race? All these liberal fucking pussies, all these other creators I see on the internet, they'll take my clip. Like, you've probably seen them, bro. They'll say shit like, oh, don't get into hustle culture and, you know, don't work so hard, just slow down, guys. They'll say all this gay shit to you. They're like, you know, the fat kids at the back of the class. We're all running, all the fat kids that are behind. Imagine if one of the fat kids shouted out at you in this race. And imagine your girl, like your future girlfriend's watching the race, and this fat kid behind you says, hey, slow down, just come walk with us. What would you say to him? You'd be thinking like, fuck you, fatty, right? You'd be thinking, yeah, fuck you. You'd be like, what the fuck, right? He's telling you to slow down. Isn't that fucking malicious? He's literally saying, hey, you, don't go as fast as Hamza's saying. Hamza's toxic. He's working too hard. He's overworking. Bro, I've done fucking laps around this race already. I'm in my 20s and I've already got millions of fucking dollars, millions of followers, jacked physique, handsome, like confident, genuinely actually, like not even those like surface level materialistic things, but genuinely actually fulfilled, and like I live a humorous, funny life. Like I live a fucking good life, and guess what? I'm far ahead of basically like most men in this race. If you're not a fucking asshole, a douchebag, you'd actually agree. Like, people will say that's arrogant. That's just a fact. You must be able to understand. That's just a objective fact. I don't even say that to boast. I'm ahead of you in this race. I'm looking back at you and telling you, hey bro, here's how to run faster in this race. Think about that. I'm literally telling you how to run faster in this race, and it's by waging war on comfort. Those comfortable little fatties in the back, they're telling you, hey bro, run slower in this race. They're telling you to slow down. They want you to be a loser like them. It's such a good analogy for life as a man, because we compete against one another, and the guy who wins in this competition gets the prettiest, most healthiest girl, and he gets to have like healthy babies with her. He gets get the car, the house, the freedom, the security, the 2 passports, the fucking ideal life that men want. The guys who are fast in this race get those rewards. The guys who are slow in this race take the bus home and masturbate. Which guy do you want to be? The level of comfort that you allow into your life will determine how much of a fatty little wanker you are compared to the winner. I'm passing back my wisdom to you so that you can run faster in this race, and you will see people who criticize this message and they're like, oh, you know, hustle culture, self-improvement's just toxic, and shut the fuck up. Every time you see that shit, sometimes I see it on YouTube, someone will have a little clip of me and be like, oh, Hamza's toxic and he's saying to work hard. I want you, whenever you see that shit on your homepage, just be like, you fat motherfucker, you little bitch, like to these other creators, or, you know, just these fucking pussies, and you probably know some in your life as well, who are telling you like, oh, slow down, don't work so hard. Just think to yourself like, but if I work harder and I run faster in this race, my future wife will be prettier, and she'll be healthier, and my children will be healthier, and we'll have a safer house, and we'll have more freedom. And these fucking lazy motherfuckers are telling you to not take life so seriously, to slow down, hustle culture, this and this and this. Fuck them. Click and watch this video to continue learning. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.